eating their own. That's what Democrats seem to be poised to do with Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman. The party is receiving scrutiny over his health issues, even his mental fitness. This after a damning report in New York Magazine alleged present and past staffers said they no longer recognize Fetterman. Fetterman's health woes started in 2022 after he suffered a stroke during his U.S. Senate campaign. Questions continued in 2023 when he checked himself into a hospital for clinical depression.
Some Republicans aren't having any of the Democratic antics. Senators Tom Cotton and Katie Britt publicly defended Fetterman, praising his transparency about battling clinical depression. So why are Democrats, are they hell-bent on getting rid of Fetterman? Who knows? Why are Republicans running interference? Joining us now to discuss is Semafor national politics reporter David Weigel. Welcome back to Rising.
It's good to be back. Thank you.
Great to have you. This is a very interesting fight that's taking place. Lots of reporting on Fetterman alleging very serious health issues, mental issues stemming from the depression and the fallout from his stroke. What are your sources telling you about, are Democrats actually trying to, I don't know, get him to resign or something like that? And is that having the effect of pushing him further into the Republican column potentially?
Well, every bit of pressure on Fetterman moves him away from the people doing the pressuring. Now, that doesn't mean he'll become a Republican, but the impact of Gaza protesters rallying outside his house was to move him further away from their position. The impact that Republicans hope happens from mostly left-wing critics, mostly on social media, making fun of Fetterman's mental illness, calling on him to resign. I should bracket those out. There's a lot of bullying of Fetterman on social media. There are also progressive groups saying he should resign, he should be replaced by a different Democrat. The Republican hope is that he gets so angry that he leaves the Democratic Party in some fashion. And they've been tying this to Mental Health Awareness Month, which is in May, and flipping their tune a little bit. And for a while after he won that 2022 race, Republicans have talked about Fetterman as an example of how Democrats had low standards for their candidates, and they would back their candidates to the hilt, just like Joe Biden. No matter what their capacity to do the job. Their new argument with Fetterman is that he's recovered and they just hate him because he doesn't have their politics anymore. Lost in all this is the argument being made against Fetterman staying in the Senate, which is not just he has depression, quote unquote, that he has been an erratic member of the Senate who has put his staff occasionally in danger with his driving, who can't keep his staff along. That's not typically the sort of thing a senator resigns for. On his side is this long precedent the Democrats are very well aware of very elderly senators staying in office without any questions about whether their staff can do their work. So it is a mess for Democrats. The Republicans are taking advantage in part by using almost social justice language about mental health and saying to attack this man is to attack something he's going through, a struggle that we should all respect.
You note that Republicans are making Democrats live up to their own book of rules, right? So in the case of Fetterman, do you think they're exposing hypocrisy, engaging in opportunism, or just pretending like it's a real concern for them? Like, do they actually want him in the party?
Yeah, well, here's the opportunistic part. Now, in the party, yes, it would be helpful to have another vote on some things. I don't think that's going to happen, knowing Fetterman as I have for around 16 years. The opportunism is that the argument that your mental health, your struggle with depression, you're even needing to take months off to deal with something personal, the argument that does not affect your job and that we should all talk about it and embrace it is more liberal, is not something that conservatives typically right now embrace. This is a party of, at the moment, of RFK Jr. of saying you should be getting off your medication, you should get more sunlight, you can fix your health with metabolically healthy foods, I should say. This is a movement at the moment that is not very sympathetic to this idea of just talking about your mental health and using that as excuse to not be able to do the job 100%. That's the part where I think they are taking the progressive script and using it against Democrats, saying you have one standard for members of Congress or anyone else with mental health issues, where you want to endlessly give them chances and treat their issues like a personality quirk. I compare this in the piece to the argument that DOD is now using to get trans people out of the military, saying, well, you have gender dysphoria, that is a mental health problem. You are too mentally incapable of serving in the military. This is where the party and the movement, I think, are going right now, of saying we've been too tolerant of just accepting people's mental divergences, let's say, and we should be more encouraging of fixing your problems before you get back into the arena. With Fetterman, they are saying, no, this is an example of the mental health issues that many Americans deal with. He's an avatar of this. We should embrace him for it. And that is how Democrats are talking about him. I'd say a year and change ago, before October 7th. And most Democrats, I should say, in the Senate don't have a problem with Fetterman's October 7th politicking, his votes for Israel, his condemnation of Gaza protests, etc. It's not that they have a problem with it. It's the way he is managing his office. But Republicans are kind of binding that together and saying, well, your rules say that we should be endlessly tolerant of somebody with these struggles. You were saying with Joe Biden, Republicans to Democrats, that his age and his old childhood stutter were the problem, not his ability to do the job. We're going to make you play by those rules and say you're only going after Fetterman because he now diverges with you politically.
Well, and also because he no longer feels politically convenient. I mean, I think some of us just look at when he was running that campaign against Dr. Oz after he had the stroke, and he was in horrible shape. His ability to communicate was so badly impacted. And, you know, if you want to take the position that, well, your staff, if you're a senator, can really do your job, what actually is the role? I would argue it is mostly a communications role that was a person who could not communicate on a very basic level. He has improved. His condition has improved dramatically since then. So I think some more, less, what do I want to say, fair-minded Republicans are saying, well, look, if he was okay, you thought he was okay then, and he was bad. He's not as bad as he was then, but now you're saying he shouldn't be in the Senate, and that's not what computes.
But yeah, there's a little bit of that, and these are two different factors. He had a stroke that badly affected his processing of hearing. That's still the case. He's still, when he takes questions, uses an automated transcription. When I've talked to him, when he's been on Bill Maher, et cetera. But his ability to speak has improved quite a lot. And if you know somebody who suffered a stroke, that's not always what happens. Sometimes a major stroke like that, aphasia, the other problems that come after it. Fetterman made a miraculous recovery in terms of his physical health. What the criticism after Ben Terris's piece in New York Magazine is, well, we're glad he's physically recovered, but he is treating his staff and his family more recklessly. And by the family, I mean just the incident in the story about recklessly driving and getting into a car crash that could have gone much worse with his wife in the car. They're trying to separate those two. And yes, Republicans are saying, but you guys, Democrats, were saying when he was in much worse shape that we should give him a 6-year term to work these issues out. And now you're saying something different because he is not even voting against you, but becoming rhetorically, comms-wise, a problem and criticizing the party's strategy, criticizing its messaging. That reporters know they can go to Fetterman generally, and he'll criticize what Democrats are doing. I should say the resistance strategy, period. Now, in his state, when I've been to Pennsylvania this year, a lot of the questions from Democratic activists, the people who are active enough to show up at a town hall meeting early before an election, they're furious with him because you're right, that comms role. They felt like as Democrats, they protected him enough to recover. And once he recovered, he has not been a loyal party member. He has been too critical of the party. So it is blurry. It is a very complicated issue because it is blurring whether you want him to recover, which every Democrat did, which everyone who knows him did, versus whether you think his politics are harmful to the Democratic Party. And of course, Republicans don't care about that. Republicans are, if Fetterman is treated so meanly by Democratic activists, and this is where I go to social media, because he's on social media, he scrolls it. He has seen people who disagree with his Israel stance calling for his death, calling for his depression to get worse, calling for him to commit suicide for a year and a half. And Republicans do think, instead of saying, buck it up, that's part of the deal with your own problems, saying, yes, you're right, you deserve a safe space to legislate in. Those people are being awful. Come over to us. We'll defend you more than Democrats have. They think there is something there. And they do think that the fact that Democrats did not come out as quickly, Schumer said he's a good member of the Senate. Yeah. But the fact that Democrats have not joined him in condemning the people, saying that he should die literally online or in a more muted way, saying that his mental health struggles means he shouldn't be a senator. They think there's something there, that the fact he's not getting the full therapeutic treatment from his party and his movement, they think is a way to get him over after Democrats gave him that treatment when he was recovering for 2 years.
Got to leave it there. Thanks so much, Dave. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next up, the fight continues over the $400 million jet Qatar plans on gifting to the DoD. We'll discuss. Stay with us.